Shalom.
What's up, everybody?
I don't want to be here.
Alright, go for
Hey,
it.
fellas, welcome to the Cord Podcast. I'm the guest, but nobody wants to do the intro.
Yeah, he's pretty much not wrong. Alright, everybody,
me here. I don't want to be here, please.
that person that you hear whispering is Daniel. We're back here again with Caesar.
Hello.
Caesar.
Hi, I'm here.
No, you're not.
We're here with Ben, as you just heard, Bwingbo, the Ben.
My name isn't real. I'm actually not here.
There you have it. We're here with Megan.
Hi.
We're here with the cat. Alright, you know what? I'm leaving. Bye, guys.
Oh, he's gone.
I'm kidding. We're here with Jody.
I'm alive.
This is so gross.
Lamau.
You know what? It's worth a shot, man, when the guest is doing the intro.
Man, I'm cutting out the entire intro.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Why would you cut it out? It's beautiful.
This
You know, the
is-
more we mess up, the more editing Caesar has.
I know, this is an official podcast for a school club.
I don't think you need to edit much of it because our dumbness is just
That's the entertaining part.
like what else?
How do you think I'm entertaining?
Total goofballs, like,
Hey, I came here for intellectual conversation.
You came to the wrong place, buddy.
That's not really why you came here.
You're
I
really
thought it'd be
wrong
really
place.
funny if you could hear me saying I don't want to be here as the intro starts. I just thought it'd be a funny bit.
You're not wrong.
I really did.
What's
So-
the point of the podcast?
So our two new guests today, we have an officer, Daniel, he's here. What's your current spot, Daniel, as the in the club?
Spirit coordinator?
Spirit coordinator. And we have Quinton, the head editor of journalism.
That's pretty
I-
nice.
That's okay. Sure, talk me up.
Yeah.
Imagine being smart.
I came here to talk about video games. Alright.
That's what we're gonna talk about.
That's kind of the point of this
That's
podcast,
easy.
Quinton, yeah. Let's go into our first topic. On the same kind of regard of difficulty in testing, difficulty in video games. Now, I'm sure you've all seen Let's Plays of people playing through Cuphead or through even some older games like Super Meat Boy, and you've noticed just how intensely hard they are. But what defines the line between difficulty in video games and it just being a repetitive grind in a video game?
See, there's a lot of elements to this. We saw recently Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing came out a day apart from each other, and they're pretty much the opposite ends of the spectrum. Doom is a very difficult game in terms of like what you need to pull off. It's difficult to get through levels. Whereas I haven't actually played Animal Crossing. I've heard from you guys and I've seen a few Let's Plays. It's more tedious. It's more you're doing the same task over and over again to try to get it. Which one would you guys prefer?
Honestly, from past games that I played, like right now, I was actually playing through the Smash Bros. Campaign, and God, I hate it, but like it's entertaining, and I feel like the more campaigns like Doom, that are challenging but they're different, are campaigns that I feel like are more suited, even though they're harder. So I feel like I would rather play that one.
Okay.
Right.
I think what we're looking at possibly, I was thinking about this the other day, is the amount of work you're putting in compared to what you're getting out. So if you're putting in many, many hours fishing or looking for shells or whatever you do in that game, and then you get something out of it, you get that dopamine. You're having fun, quote unquote. You feel accomplished. Whereas in like a very difficult game, you still may try the same level over and over and over again to try to get that sense of accomplishment at the end. But then there's the ability where you can kind of bypass some of that work if there's skill. Do you guys get what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel you too. On that Smash Bros. Level that I was playing today, I had to face off against 4 Marios who kept grabbing me and using their up air. So, I mean, like, it got really annoying and tedious at first, but then when I got past it, I was able to, just be like, F you, Mario, I finally did it.
I think it just depends on the kind of person you are. He mentioned that, for example, in Animal Crossing, like, I personally enjoy the slow, tedious process of gathering materials and building, kind of like Minecraft. But like, if I'm not in that mood set, if I'm like upset or like I'm just in like a really hyped up mood and I want to like cause some damage, I'm gonna turn on Doom Eternal. You know?
Yeah.
I am kind of on both sides of the spectrum. Like I like the fast pace and I like the farming, which is why I have so many hours in Warframe. So that's also like a grindy game that I have way too many hours in. And then also it's still difficult.
Right.
So I'm like in the middle of Animal Crossing and in this sense Doom. I'm like in the middle.
Well, you mentioned earlier how it's kind of Minecraft is a similar game in terms of grindiness, but I think Minecraft also has a sort of tech tree, where you can build these automated farms, and so you don't have to grind after a while. You can really kind of bypass the grindiness with skill, as you could in Doom Eternal, supposedly. If you're good enough, you can beat a level,
Right.
I think that's also very essential. Didn't you say that after you get like the final villager in that game, you can like do other things? Is there any sort of tech tree in that sense in Animal Crossing?
What exactly do you
He's referring to a KK slider.
Exactly. Yes, that was the fella. I forgot his name.
KK Slider?
Like if you get him, do you have to do less work in the end, or?
No, actually you do more work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's when you get terraforming.
And you can reshape your island however you please.
Yeah, so you actually do more work when you get KK Slider.
Hmm.
But Animal Crossing, there really is no end game either. It's like Minecraft. There is really no end. Like, yeah, you can beat the Ender Dragon, the credits roll. Like in Animal Crossing, you get KK Slider and the credits roll, but that's not the end of the game.
Yeah, you can still explore, do more things. There's always stuff to do,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
And I think what makes Animal Crossing so entertaining is that, well, right now it's still a young game. People are still discovering exploits and glitches and that kind of thing. That's kind of fun. And then not much of the game is exploitable, but certain things are. For example, tarantulas. You can get a tarantula island and just completely destroy the economy in less than like an hour. I've done it several times. Like it's fun to discover exploits, and it's fun to kind of look around and see what you can do with what you're given.
But you see, should a game have those exploits, Because I know that's a big point of contention in the Minecraft community. They're trying to, in newer updates, get rid of a lot of things that made it easier to get over these giant hurdles in terms of labor. Like an example is iron farms. They're talking about taking them out. Like, should the exploits not be there at all, or should there be some sort of in-game version to use the exploits? What do you guys think?
I feel like I like exploits. Like when you were talking about the Tarantula Island, yeah, you're kind of taking advantage of the system, but it's satisfying. You're like, I just got 80 tarantulas and I did all this work for it, and now I'm getting like 100,000 bells. Like it feels good.
So you're still putting a lot of work into that.
Yeah,
though.
you're still putting the work into doing the exploit. So it's not like you're just standing still.
Yeah, okay. I see what you mean.
Because you still have to clear out all the trees, you still have to clear out every single item that is on that island to make Tarantula Island.
What have you been thinking of Animal Crossing?
What?
I know you guys talked about this a little bit last week, but what have you guys been thinking about Animal Crossing?
I love it. If you haven't noticed, I love the game.
Very
You
good game.
post like nothing but Animal Crossing images in the group
Yes,
chat.
and I have been doing nothing but Animal Crossing.
Megan has roughly 170 hours.
I think it's
That's-
180 now. Let me see.
To give
That's
perspective, I got Smash Bros. 6 months ago. I have 340 hours. She got Animal Crossing the week after it came out, I believe. Was it the week after it came out?
Yeah.
And in that amount of time, she's amassed half of what I've gotten in 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hardcore grinding.
And on top of that, I am almost passing my Warframe hours, and that is a cumulative, I think, of a year and a half.
Oh,
Wow.
oh my god.
That's
My
that's
Warframe
a bit
hours
absurd.
on Steam, it says 300, but on the actual game, I think it's 700.
wow. That's a lot of Warframe.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
not
the
proud
most
of it.
hours I have is Scrap Mechanic. So that's another example of a game where you can kind of get past. Well, I mean, it's pretty underdeveloped right now. It's still in beta, but you can, if you want to like build machines and stuff to deal with a lot of the grindy activities in the game, then you can just go ahead and do that. But you have to put in like the effort and design the machine. You know.
Yeah.
I like design games. Those are kind of my favorite sorts of games.
I feel like I've been on like how would I say I have a lot of hours in the game, but even then I play one of those games that's easy to learn, hard. Like I have 1,000 hours in Rainbow Six Siege. Sometimes even I still don't understand how I die, how someone uses an angle against me, you know. And I feel like that's actually one of the fun things of video games. You know, you have those games that you can put as many hours, you can play it for as much time as you want, but in reality, until you look up guides, you know, and learn from other people who are the higher end of the community, and in terms of like experience and rank, you won't really learn.
And that's another thing. Like, should games include these guides like within the game to do higher level things? Because if you know, like a lot of Minecraft has like different structures that kind of tell you how to do things. Like if you'll note the sandstone, the red sandstone texture, it has like the diagram on how to make a wither. If you look at the igloos, it'll tell you how to cure a zombie villager. You know. You technically have these guides, but you still would want to look them up in order to find them, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
And that's like the fun part, like figuring something out that you didn't know before.
yeah, I don't think it's fun when they tell you, do this, do that, do this, do that. But when they give you
That's
like
true.
a rough outline, like maybe you should go over here, here's a hint on this, maybe over here. When you discover that, it's like, oh wow, I did that. Good job, me.
Yeah, it's like a sort of tutorial, but it's like less direct. That's pretty cool.
Almost a lot of-
Interesting. I've never heard of that. See, when I was referring to like guides, like I mean like these are things that we find on our own. You know, like you guys probably won't understand when I say this, but you know, the C4 spot. You guys know what C4 is? Explosive stuff. You can stick it under a wall and you can instantly get a kill on someone. But it took me like 1,000 hours to learn that one spot, and there wasn't any tutorial videos, you know, on put it here, or this is an easy way to get kills. But it was until I got more into the game that I experienced. And I feel
Yeah,
like
I think my favorite thing about games is like being able to figure things out on your, you know, because like I'll play like Rocket League, you know, and I'll spend hours and hours and hours and probably way more than I have ever spent in actual games, and it takes like so much work to figure out what you want to do, you know. So I think my favorite types of games are the ones that take forever to get good at. You know, like you have to put.
Then there's TF2, which learning curve looks like a roller coaster.
I
Like
haven't started
you
playing
can
it
you can just play that game for 1,000 hours and then just completely change your playstyle on the spot. It's that game's a bit absurd.
Wait, have you guys heard about that new game that's coming out called Valorant?
I
It's like
haven't.
a first-person shooter,
Like
dude. It's
CS:GO and
yeah.
Overwatch mixed.
That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, like
It is.
It's got a crazy viewership on Twitch, dude. I was reading
God, I
about it.
could
and
just
it was like
imagine how toxic the community is.
there was like 900,000 people were watching all the streams at once.
Oh my.
They beat League of Legends actually. I'm pretty sure, in terms of viewership of all time, something like that.
That fast?
But yeah, I kind of want to check it out. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like, I'm not a fan of CS:GO or like Overwatch, but you know, I'm willing to give it a try. It seems like a cool game.
Yeah, I think with that's crazy, cause like League is like the video game, you know. Like I feel like there's no game.
That and World of Warcraft.
Yeah, like no online game as big as League. Like I can go to Twitch right now, and I promise you, like the top like 5 things probably Minecraft, just chatting, and League.
And e-girls. I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. Competitive video games, it's very rare that you have a competitive video game that's like grindy like that, you know. And that's like the epitome of a learning curve and something you have to like figure out over time.
Mhm.
I remember Overwatch. I used to be really into Overwatch. Like I was okay at it, but you would like you would have to spend like a different amount of time picking up different characters and figuring out how they work. And it's only after like you've put in a lot of hours you can kind of see how teams start to develop, and you just have to put in all those. You have to put in a lot of time to figure out like the most effective way and to like figure out why you're losing games. You know.
But then again, I have I have a somewhat hatred of the game, but I still love the game. But I played competitive Overwatch a lot, and yeah, it does. You have to play in order to learn the game, but then again, that type of game, there could be one patch, and you just all the thing that you have learned just washes away.
So don't even get me started when they add a new character and the meta just shifts entirely.
Every time they add a new character, the meta shifts, and that is why that competitive scene, the pro scene, is dying, because there's such thing as like a learning curve, yeah, but that big of a scale is insane.
See, and that I think actually I'm glad to say that's what I love about the competitive scene games. Like I played competitive in Siege 2. You know, I was playing with F3 back in the day. But I think that's one of the most important things about a pro game. You know, like in Siege, the pro scene is still surviving because I have to give it to these pros. You know, they're insane. It comes down to extreme adaptation to the meta change. You know, like like 2 years ago, you could literally just walk into a bomb site and plant in a game like Siege. But now it's they call it a new 20-second meta where you can't push until the last 20 seconds because of how the meta has changed with the defenders. And it's like, in order to really stick with competitive and be able to completely master and be good at a game, you have to be able to adapt to the meta changes. Whether they add a new character, they nerf a character, or they buff a character, you know? It's like you just have to adapt to that change and keep on going with the game.
See,
One thing
go ahead.
One thing I think is hard about competitive gaming is it's really community based. Because if there's no community, there is no competitive gaming at all. Whether you're a beginner or you're a pro, you need someone to play against, and you need someone to teach you the meta.
You know, that's very true. A good example, a few months ago I was watching this gaming channel, Neebs Gaming, and they had a sponsorship by some game. It was kind of like a mixture between League of Legends and Rocket League, where it's like a third person, but it was like a soccer game and there were different characters. It was an interesting
I saw the trailer for that, yeah.
Yeah, and then like I downloaded it and I couldn't get into a game. There was nobody playing it. And like those games literally like entirely rely on their community base, because if there's nobody playing, then there's literally no games and nobody can start to play. And that game is no longer on the Steam store. Like it's just gone.
Destiny 2 gang?
Oh no.
Is there anyone who still plays that game?
Destiny 2? No.
I didn't even know 2 came out until I saw it for $2 on eBay, and I was like, wow.
I remember the last time anyone had hype was for Forsaken.
Yeah, I
And
remember
that's
that.
just because of the memes.
One thing I see, this is why I play competitive games that are old. I'm a Tetris boy. you can't change the meta if it's on the NES, you know?
That's where a lot of speedrunners find their home too.
Oh yeah,
so
speed.
consistent,
God.
and they can just keep practicing the same thing and get better.
I
man, I could
love
never be a
speedrunners.
Yeah, I could never
the
do that.
speedrunners, their progress is more like
It's
a direct result of what they do.
like it
Wow,
just
like-
takes work.
Yeah. While sure, competitive gaming for like a fighting game or a team shooter, you're sort of building yourself up, but if things are changing, then you have to build yourself up in a different way.
Yeah,
But with speedrunning,
Yeah.
you can just become a god for no reason.
That's the most accurate definition I've heard. Like I don't know, I've seen some crazy runs. I recall I think, do you guys know the channel Summoning Soul on YouTube?
No.
He's a YouTuber who covers speedruns and just speedruns and like the history behind certain runs. And he currently holds the world record for the fastest Mike Tyson fight in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And like I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to beat Mike Tyson on the NES online thing. And I tried for maybe an hour and a half. I couldn't even punch him. Like, seeing these people do their plays and doing their runs, it's incredible. Like, how much dedication, knowledge, and learning they put into it to get even close to a world record.
And the worst part is, sorry, Megan.
It's just a small comment, and I have so much respect for those speedrunners because I watch Dark Souls speedrunners,
Oh, God.
and yes, most of them use glitches, but it's cool watching them just go through mountains, and it's legit.
I think where I have the most respect is that a lot of games have an extreme level of RNG you have to get past in order to like even, have a successful run.
Cuphead.
Cuphead, yeah. I saw a Minecraft run yesterday. Somebody beat it tool assisted in 90 seconds.
Dude, I watched the same speed run. It was insane.
Isn't that but the just exact precise spawning of like all the Endermen and everything, there's such an extreme level of RNG. Like you have to make sure you are on the tip of your game, and then you also have the RNG, and the odds of that coming together in like the same run where you just happen to be recording, I think that's a little absurd.
Yep, it really is.
I think...
I watched Diablo and Path of Exile speedrunning, and those games are literally RNG. And there are the people who have like the worst RNG in the possible, but they still beat the people with the good RNG. So it's not like impossible if you have bad luck, but it's still, I think it's even better.
That's true. I remember watching a BX Toy Cat try to speedrun Bedrock Edition of Minecraft, and he kind of explained during his stream, being a good speedrunner isn't just about getting that good RNG, it's about being able to react when the bad RNG happens, so you can like save a run. So if you can find like alternative means to get to where you need to go on time, It's just about strategy, and the planning it takes to put into a lot of speedruns is also absurd, because like you have to know the exact route, the exact glitches. You pretty much have to have the entire game memorized.
I recall back in the early days of Mario speedrunning, people were getting like subpar times, and a glitch was discovered that if you start the game in a certain frame, you get a faster time, thanks to a looping cycle that would happen when you clear the flagpole in Super Mario Bros. And like the fact that something as simple as the time you start the game can affect your run by seconds is crazy. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
Or like
Especially
in
down
Cuphead
to a
runs.
frame.
In Cuphead runs, sometimes players will have to pause during some phases of the fight so that they can get just barely seconds of time, or not even seconds. Percent of a second.
Yeah, Cal Maria.
My cousin's calling. I'm not my cousin. My niece is calling for me from the hallway, and I feel really bad. She doesn't know how to say Uncle Danny, so she'll just say Nana.
Have you guys had any issues with that? Like your parents or family members just being absurdly loud while you're trying to do an online class?
I'm Hispanic.
I have class with my mom.
Oh, really? Oh yeah, isn't it a Spanish class?
No, calm this time.
Oh, that's cool.
I keep myself on mute and eat my sandwiches while staring into the camera. That's all I do. That's all I do.
I haven't had an online class, like a video chat yet. None of my
Maybe you
classes
have,
have.
and you just didn't know it.
I just use my mic.
I mean, me and Ben had tennis online. That's
How
all.
is that?
I'm out.
So
Set up your Wii.
he was like,
Maybe that'll be into online classes. Maybe that'd be a good topic to roll into as our real life topic. Online classes.
online class. Yeah, but for the tennis class, what happened was he was like, all right, we're just checking in. We're going to have a voice call, a video chat next Monday, and have your rackets. I don't know what that means. Like, do you expect me to have a racket in my hand on a screen, be swinging it in my room, back and forth, hitting, like, stuff on my walls? I don't know what you want from me, James.
James.
Remember in Wii Sports when you play tennis and before you go into the actual game, your Mii is just standing there and you could wiggle the Wii remote to make them swing around, go crazy?
Yes!
That's gonna be you and Ben. Just standing there in the mirror, just
We should get something choreographed.
Choreography.
We should do something like that.
Me and the boys
And then just like when
choreography.
we get on, just turn on the camera and do it like it's
Just torture him. I'm cool with that. Let's torture him. But how have your guys' online classes been going?
They've been alright. I mean, I've still had a lot of work from them, but I guess it's a part of it, so I'm getting used to it.
My professor tried to use a digital background, and it ended up being like a floated head in Fiji. So it's cool.
I've seen some pretty memographic digital backgrounds.
God, Zoom's a brain dead website.
Oh yeah, one of the students in my class, they were driving while the meeting was on, and
no.
we heard them almost get into an accident.
Nice.
Oh my god.
We heard how overdue the brake change was for that car. Alright, like,
I hate people that just join in and like forget that they're in a Zoom meeting and just play music in the background. Like, at least mute yourself, you know.
It's
I was
happened.
playing Minecraft during my meeting.
That's what I do.
I actually, whenever I'm in this is kind of the only good things that's come out of this for me is that I'm able to listen to music in the background, like just in my headphones. So I listen to it very faintly, but it takes a lot of the awkward silence out of a lecture. If I was a professor, I probably would just play music during the lecture and very faintly, just to make it less awkward.
Yeah, I do recall during the tennis lecture. At the end,
First.
our professor was like, "All right, any questions? Any questions? Any
Nobody
questions?" 4 times he asked any questions, and no one said anything.
We all just sat there.
And he went, "Okay, goodbye." And then we just sat there still in the voice chat.
And then after like 30 seconds, he started waving. And that was when I left. I was
Yeah,
like,
and then Ben left, but I was like, you know what? I'm curious. So I stayed in the call. And then eventually the 2 students left, and like 5 new ones came in. But I just sat there, and he explained the whole thing, and everyone was gone. And it was just me and him. And eventually he was like, okay. And he turned off the system, so it was just me alone in the Zoom meeting. And it was wonderful. True.
That's pretty depressing.
Yeah.
You know what that reminds me of? You ever see It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? But there's an episode where one of the main characters, Dennis, is in a police interrogation room, and he like puts on a happy face when the police officer is talking to him, but then the officer leaves the room and he just stares blank-faced into the camera until the officer comes back, like unblinking. And I could just imagine a professor just doing that, like forgetting to turn the camera off and just staring into the camera awkwardly for like several minutes after a class.
Just dead silent.
Just dead silent. That would be the best.
For the first time while in this house, like when I set up my camera for the Zoom meeting, I like looked around my room. I was like, damn, this is not like presentable. I had to actually clean my room a little bit so I can look like a decent human being in the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, you not only have to get dressed, you have to clean your room to go to school now.
I don't even use the video thing.
I don't use the video either.
My
He's
teacher's
just
like,
like,
I
someone
want to
pop
see
in.
your
I'm like,
face.
no.
That's kind of weird.
I want to see your face.
So, another topic you gave me, Caesar, because you gave me a list of, well, we kind of collaborated, everybody, but the guest here is talking about the topics. So you guys were going to talk about injuries and the different injuries you've had in your life?
Oh.
Okay, so that conversation started just because I posted a photo in our group chat and said, what injuries do you guys have? And here we are.
Who wants to go first?
Caesar, want to go first?
Oh, I have a lot.
Chip chop, chippity choppy.
What are you on?
We're already at what? 32 minutes in? We're almost done. Oh my god.
Well, you're gonna cut out half of it anyway, so.
Okay.
Caesar's missing. All right, audience. Audience, here's how Caesar lost part of his finger.
Okay, we're starting with that, huh?
Took it inside of a leaf blower and then it just went splat.
Okay, well, let me tell the story of the leaf blower. So, it was Christmas Eve. It was Christmas Eve, which is the first issue. We had our grandparents coming from Mexico for the first time in their entire life. They've applied, I think it was 11 times to get a visa, and they finally got it, right? And the day before Christmas Eve, I'm in the backyard leaf blowing. I'm getting rid of leaves, it's all dirty. Now, my father is a fan of tinkering. He likes to take certain things and make them better, you could say. So, the leaf blower, first of all, it's from like 1964. It's ancient. Like, it's a weapon, first of all. And second of all, he takes off the intake grid, so it's just a spinning fan, and he has a bit of an extension so more air can flow in, right? Now, in my head, I'm thinking, this is genius. This leaf blower is so much faster. So what happens, it's Christmas Eve, and I'm leaf blowing. I hear the fan going in the background. And my mom's like, hey, come here real fast. I'm like, okay. And I turn my body, but I don't turn my left hand. And I keep turning with the leaf blower. And then, contact. Oh, be real? The next, half an hour is a blur. I recall running inside, grabbing a towel. I walked into the garage, and I was like, Dad, I don't think I'm okay. He was like, what happened? And I put my hand up, and he immediately cries. And he was like, it's my fault. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this to my son. And I was like, Dad, you can cry later. I have to go to the hospital. So...
Why is it's so funny?
Why are we laughing?
I knew the story before.
You don't just tell someone stop crying, cry later.
So, we're in the car, and the adrenaline in my head is so high that I don't feel pain. I'm just like, oh, okay. I feel the pulsing, but no pain. So I was like, what can I do to lighten the tension? So I turn on the radio. My dad's in the car sobbing, driving 80 miles an hour in the street trying to get to the hospital. And I'm like, Dad, it's okay, the radio's on. Dad, listen to the radio. And he's like, oh, I can't believe I did this to my son.
I gotta ask Caesar, just for clarification, did you pick up the finger before you left?
Okay, so, I don't recall, but I do know for a fact that my finger was not in the backyard.
Oh God.
It was it's going to be very graphic. If you don't want to listen, mute out now. It was kind of dangling from what was left of my finger. But the physical bone, the top half was gone. It was I didn't see it. So.
And there's the PG cut.
All right, and welcome back. So we're in the hospital. We get to the hospital, and my so AV hospital is a big emergency sign, we're around a big circle. My dad got lost. And he had to stop and ask the security guard, and it was the funniest thing. He rolls out my window on the passenger seat. He rolls it down. He's like, "Excuse me." He's sobbing. "Excuse me. Where's the emergency room?" And he's like, "Sir, are you okay?" He's like, "No, my son." And I'm like, "Hi," and my hands, all nasty and ground up. I'm like, "Hi, how's it going?" He's like, "Oh my God, down there." So we get into the emergency room. And it's full of people, and they're all staring at me for some reason. I don't know why. The white towel is no longer white. It's no longer. It's still Christmas themed, just a different shade. So I go to the front desk of the emergency room, and my dad's in the back. He's literally in a chair, hands on his knees, looking down, sobbing his eyes out, crying. Fetal, almost fetal, but sitting in a chair. And I'm like, "Hi, how are you? My dad's over there in the corner. He's crying. He's okay. I got my hand stuck in a leaf blower. I'm not sure what to do." And I put it up, and I will never forget the nurse's face of absolute terror. She looks at me and she goes, oh my god, get over here right now. And they drag me inside. And like the entire, I was there for like 6 hours. So the surgery happened to get my finger reattached. But that entire time, I just recall like I was so pumped up on adrenaline that I didn't feel the pain. So I was like cracking jokes with like the nurses and the doctors. I had my mom who came in after crying. My brother sobbing. My grandparents were freaking out on the phone. And I'm like, "Hey, how we doing?" I just recall I woke up after the surgery and I was like, "Oh my god, my hand's all bandaged up." And I looked like down the bandage and I see my finger down there, all the way it is. I'm not gonna describe it. And like everyone's crying, everyone's freaking out, and everyone's like, "Oh." And that's how I lost my finger. And
Good story.
And they reattached it after, and I'm fine now. But whatever.
Nice.
Somebody topped that.
Do you want to tell us a story, Jody?
Which one? Because I'm kind of clumsy.
Whichever one's the most entertaining.
Okay, this one's a true definition of my stupidity. I don't know how old I was, but I was young, maybe 7-ish. And I lived right next door to, obviously my neighbor. And we were best friends. And what he would often do is he'd hop the wall and we'd play on the swing set we had in my backyard.
Off the border.
Don't say that.
All right, cutting that out. Yep. That's really not okay. All right, go ahead, Jody.
Other times he hopped. I wanted to say border, Anthony. Oh my god. He hopped the wall, and he was a year older than me, so he was a little more mature, and he was swinging on with his legs on like a monkey bar thing.
Mm.
Me, being a dumb child, didn't see that he had used his feet to support himself while he was swinging. So when he got off, and I'm like, I want to try that, and I did, and I did not have any support at all. And the floor is concrete. I started hanging, and then as soon as I let go with my hands, I fell immediately onto the concrete face first and ripped my nose open.
Oh my god.
And I think I started crying. And then my mom comes outside and just sees blood on the floor and looks at me, and the pure horror that my friend had on his face was so hilarious. And he's just looking at me while I'm sobbing, and then I think he just quietly went home. And I went to the hospital, and I don't know what happened after that.
Oh, she's bleeding. I gotta go, actually. I had dinner right now. Hold on. Getting the phone call.
So, could I tell an injury story?
I have one as well, so you can go first.
All right, this is the story of how my brain broke.
Oh, let's start.
So,
A TLC story.
So I'm sitting there, right? There's this movie about I don't even remember. I think it's called Project X or something. It's about how they used to do experiments in the Air Force on monkeys and stuff. And I remember there was this scene. I was watching this movie. I don't even remember why I was watching it. I really didn't want to watch it. I must have been like 7th or 8th grade. And there was this scene where all of the monkeys were in cages. And I just remember seeing a monkey smoking a cigar, and then my brain just stopped working. And because I saw a monkey smoking a cigar. I just kind of started tripping on the spot, and I was like, "Whoa!" And the first time I thought I was just having deja vu, because that's kind of what a seizure is like, just a bunch of deja vu. And I was like, "Hey, Mom, you ever get a bunch of deja vu?" And she's like, "Yeah, go to bed." And
for those who don't know, Quinton has epilepsy.
Yes, I have epilepsy. So the next day was PSAT day. It was 8th grade. That's right. And I remember just like taking one of the snack breaks, and the same thing happened. I was like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "Mom, you should probably take me to the doctor. I think there might be something wrong with my brain." Like I was Googling it and listening to all sorts of scary stories on WebMD, and I was like, "Yeah, please take me to the doctor." So I go to the doctor, they check me out, and a little while in, like I'm waiting in the office, doctor comes back and he says, "All right, you've got the flu." take this flu medication and come back in a few weeks. So meanwhile, it's 2 months, but it goes 2 months before I'm actually able to see a neurologist. So I'm just having seizures like once or twice a week for 2 months.
Oh my god.
And after 2 months, I was finally able to get it all fixed, and my brain works now.
Congratulations.
So the trick is to do that to get smarter.
I don't know anything about that.
Okay, so good to know that if you're ever talking like a bit too much, I can just show you a picture of an ape smoking a cigar, and you'll break
Yeah,
immediately.
that works.
What? No.
Go keep that in mind.
The ultimate power.
That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, for all you journalism folk who
We have power over you.
Okay, Ben, we're not communists.
All right, Ben, you want to go next, Ben?
Alright, Ben, yeah, do your story. Come on.
Spit some facts.
Back in the year 2000, I'm vibing. I was 3 years old.
Wow, you cut out the very second you said
3-year-old things. What?
You cut out the very second of the year.
Oh, 2006.
Ah, here of our
I was
savior.
3, So I was vibing. And, as a kid, you like to do dumb stuff. So I'm chilling, and we have this, ottoman. You know what an ottoman is?
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, so basically, I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do somersaults over the ottoman. And so I kept doing that. And then I fell off. And I just, broke my collarbone on my right side.
Wait, off the ottoman?
Yep. Yeah, I fell off an ottoman. It's, not even, that big of a fall, but I just did. I guess I landed on it wrong. But,
Your poor clavicle.
yeah, no, because my parents didn't think it was a problem. So they didn't take me to the hospital for 3 days.
Oh my
Because
god.
I don't know, I was a kid, I was crying, and they're like, okay, he's crying because he's a baby. And, I was kind of a baby, so...
It's like shattered clavicle.
Yeah, so after, a couple days of me just, crying, they were like, I think something might be wrong. So they just, grabbed me up and took... And, yeah, I broke my collarbone, and that was... Yeah. I'm a clumsy...
Sorry.
Oh wait, he's crying a bit too much. I wonder what it could be. Why is his shoulder all purple?
Exactly.
Maybe it shouldn't be purple.
Oh.
Why is he falling apart?
Who wants to go next?
I want to go next.
Spit some facts, Megan.
So, I have a history of breaking bones, but this is only one of the stories of my breaking bones. So, you guys know what pogo stick is?
Yeah.
No.
Doesn't.
Okay, so I am, by the way, I am now banned from hopping a pogo stick by my family. And this is the reason why. So I got a pogo stick for Christmas. This was in 3rd grade. And I was like, hey, I can do this while I close my eyes. And next thing you know, I am on the floor. And at that moment, I think I broke my wrist, my thumb, and part of a ligament in my arm.
Jesus.
And that, I think I was in a cast. I think I was in a cast for the whole entire school year. And at least half of it. And right when it healed, I am kind of stupid, so I went back on the pogo stick. And I might have sprained my wrist again. And then I didn't learn by the second time I broke myself, so I went on it again, and I broke the other wrist.
Ah.
How many spare wrists do you have?
I sprained my left 3 times, my right twice. I broke my left leg once, rolled both my ankles twice, broke my middle finger.
And that's why you don't play volleyball.
Yeah, the middle finger was volleyball, the ankles were volleyball.
Well, I guess you can't flip people off anymore.
I played the flute during then, so I would play the flute in my cast, and I was just constantly flipping off my conductor.
Nice.
There's no direct, well, there is direct contact in volleyball. How did you break?
My middle finger?
How did that happen?
I got spiked, and it went towards my face, so I put my hands in front of my face.
I see.
And you know, my finger was bending backward.
That's fun.
Who wants to go next?
Both inappropriate responses.
Can we get a pog in the chat, guys?
There is no chat.
There is a chat. What are you talking about?
Guys, type in a 1 if you want me to give some free subs.
Whoever says first on the video gets a free copy of Minecraft.
Oh,
No.
no.
Yeah.
I had to cut out. I had to cut out so much of Lima last time. I have to do it again. All right, anyone know next? Because I think we all have more stories.
I broke my arm once.
Not surprised.
You did?
And yeah, I did, but way back in the day. It was the weird little school up in Lake Elizabeth, and they have this thing, they call it a glider, and it's kind of like a hang glider. You just hold on to it and it flings you back. And yeah, and so I was like, I was on it, and they were doing this thing where they would have somebody push you back so you could go again, and like it would make it faster so you didn't have to like sling it back up, because you had to push it back uphill, and it was a little bit tedious at the time. So I was like, yeah, please don't do that to me. So I went down it, and then this girl grabs me and pushes me back and just flings me off of it. Like, I just went flying, and the next thing I know, I'm on the ground, and I just cannot feel my arm in any way whatsoever. And this is where the screwed up part happens, because I went to my teacher, and I was like, yeah, can I go home? My arm is very clearly broken. And she was like, no. I couldn't go home. They wouldn't let me leave.
Today is
because
fractions.
that school was incredibly poor, and you don't get the way this attendance system works is you have to have a student there like half of the day in order to get attendance for them being there. So they stalled around like several times. I went and I was like, hey, can I go to the office? And you know what they do? They gave me ice, because that's gonna heal a broken bone. And then I went to the teacher, and I was like, I can't write because my arm's kind of not working. And she was like, fine, are you happy? You get to go home, okay? And I was like, yeah, yes, please. And I came in the next day with a cast on my arm. So that was fun. That's how I broke my arm.
You know, poor school gang, you know?
Yeah, poor
That's how
school
it'll be
gang.
sometimes.
Hey, at least you haven't died.
No, I can't say I have that one.
I know,
yet.
who was it? I know somebody had died. Like, for a second.
Yeah.
I forgot who it
20
was.
minutes.
My
Oh, it was
father
you!
died-
You died for 20 minutes.
See, I turned out to be exactly like my father. We're both very clumsy people. If you haven't noticed, the other day when I sent in the group chat that I hit myself with a hammer.
You keep
Wait,
bringing it
how
up.
did you die for 20 minutes? Back up now.
Yeah, let's not focus on the hammer you always talk about.
So I was a baby, was about like 1-2 years old. I just remember I was still on whatever they call those things, baby cart stroller,
Yeah,
strollers. And
baby cards.
he didn't put the seatbelt on for some reason. See, and he hit a bump on the road. So I just came out of the seat, and I happened to hit my head on the cement.
You got
And-
flung.
I got flung. And when I went to the hospital, when my parents took me, doctors were like, see, your son got named and he's dead. So my mom was really contemplating, looking at my dad all weird. She was like, this man really killed my son.
I
But then
imagine.
the doctors used the resuscitators, or I don't know what the hell you call those things. I forget what you call them.
Like
They
the
basically
shock
put a bolt
paddles?
of electricity. Yeah, the shocker things.
Yeah, shock paddles.
Yeah, what are they?
Fabricate? No.
No, respirators is for your lungs.
Nice, yeah.
It's- Oh man, I forget what they're called. We just took we just had the CPR
They
people
put
at
you in the
school
electric
who literally
It
explained this to us.
doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
Continue.
Go ahead, Lima.
They used that, and after trying it like 10 times, I came back to life.
Did your dad like nudge your mom with his shoulder and be like, "See, he's fine"?
That's actually what he did.
See, it's breathing.
My
I knew
mom
that
was
was scary.
panicking the entire time, and she was crying. She was calling the insurance to bury me.
Oh my god.
That's a bit dark for a
Glad you
podcast.
can laugh about it, Anthony.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's a bit dark for a podcast, man. Ay.
And my dad was just kind of sitting there, and he's like, you know what, he'll be fine. Overreacting.
We should recreate it for 20.
Man, I wish the whole rest of Anthony's life played like a Final Destination movie. Where Death just keeps trying to kill him over and over. And just by being Lima, he's just like, oh.
Oh, a steel beam.
For one person to survive a plane crash.
So, who hasn't given injury story?
I'll ever almost drive off a cliff.
Oh, there we go. All right. Want to explain, Jody?
No, because I forgot about this when Lima was saying that his dad almost killed him. That my dad almost killed my brother and I. Because we went to the snow and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Snowy mountains.
Yeah, the two.
So when we went up there and we were done playing in the snow, he refused to go off the mountain, and so he had taken a nap. By the time he was done taking a nap, it was night, and we were still on the top of a mountain. That was kind of nice.
Nice.
So as he's driving down, all of a sudden the car goes skr and starts and turning, and then he crashes into the side of the wall, and then it like goes backwards, and then somehow he's able to get it back on. And this whole time my brother didn't have a seatbelt on, so if he were to fall off the mountain, he would have been done.
Oh my god. I see.
Is it bad that when she says
I refuse to go to the snow with him anymore.
For good reason.
Sexual in this chat, sadly, is Quinton. Goodbye, guys.
Why does everybody keep saying that?
Because you're smart.
He's only intellectual in comparison to us.
No, he's the only intellectual. He's the only.
At the end of the day, we're all very dumb. All right, guys. So we're gonna go play some Minecraft, and that's really about it for today.
Caesar,
No, I'm about to go play that road.
Wear your socks.
I'm playing with her.
I'm going back to my niece. Bye.
All right. See ya.
I'm going to sleep.
All right. Bye, folk. See you next time.